What if a giant monster rose from the depths of the ocean, smashing buildings and causing mass destruction? Well, actually, that's not a what-if scenario. It happened in the first Godzilla movie, which is actually pretty different from the ones that came after. Let me explain. In the original 1954 film, simply titled Godzilla, we meet our titular character who is introduced in the form of a giant skeleton. See, this big lug was actually alive 20 million years ago. He was just your typical gigantic aquatic reptile chilling out in the sea. But then one day, some pesky humans decided to drop a nuclear bomb in the ocean for the sole purpose of testing how powerful their new weapon was. Turns out the bomb created a massive amount of radiation, enough to mutate that aquatic lizard into a radioactive behemoth. And thus, Godzilla was born. He immediately began destroying everything around him, which prompted scientists to take matters into their own hands. You know, they could have just sat back and watched as Tokyo got flattened, but instead decided to develop a weapon that would eventually become known as the oxygen destroyer. Now, before you ask, no, it doesn't work by sucking all the oxygen out of the air like certain Marvel superheroes can do. Instead, it works by making all the oxygen in the air explode. Yeah, really. That's how they killed Godzilla. But getting that highly concentrated burst of oxygen to go off required a human life force to activate it. So they strapped a bunch of volunteers to a device that would transmit their life energy to the oxygen destroyer. Then once it was activated, these poor souls were vaporized instantly, but not before they looked up to the sky and smiled serenely as if they were giving Godzilla a big, "Go get 'em, buddy." Or maybe they were smiling because they were relieved to be finally free of the horrible pain that Godzilla had inflicted upon them. It's really up to your interpretation. Anyway, the oxygen destroyer worked like a charm, blowing Godzilla's radioactive hide off and ending his reign of terror. In the end, the city was destroyed, many lives were lost, and humanity was left contemplating the consequences of messing with forces beyond their understanding. Also, there's this one scene where a guy gets crushed by a building and his skeleton falls into a river, which might just be the most metal thing I've ever seen in a non-metal movie. So why do I love this movie, and why do so many other people, especially teens, love it? Well, for starters, it's an amazing story with plenty of opportunities for fan service, like showing lots of destruction, cool monsters, and terrifying imagery. But it's also a surprisingly accurate depiction of what would happen if a monster like Godzilla were to attack a major city. Sure, it's over the top in some places, but the movie does a great job of showing how such an event would affect the people living in the city, as well as the scientific community and military forces trying to contain the damage. It's almost like a cautionary tale about the dangers of nuclear weapons. Almost. Another reason I love it is because of its real-world ties to history. You see, when it was released in 1954, Japan had suffered through 2 devastating world wars and had recently been bombed with atomic weapons. There was a lot of fear at the time that another nuclear war could happen, which made Godzilla a very timely metaphor for the destructive power of nuclear weapons. However, the film isn't just a retelling of those events. It also shows how the Japanese people were able to come together in the face of adversity and rebuild their country after the bombings. This message of hope and resilience is what makes the film so special. It's a reminder that no matter how dark things may seem, the human spirit will always prevail in the end. Okay, that last part was definitely a stretch, but the rest of it's true. If you want to learn more about the original Godzilla and see a bunch of stuff I didn't mention in this video, I recommend checking out this YouTube channel. We have tons of great videos about classic kaiju films, including a series where they recreate the destruction scenes from various movies using footage from the actual cities they take place in. So if you want to see what Tokyo would actually look like if Godzilla decided to pay it a visit, I guarantee their videos will impress you. You've been watching MonsterMayhemMedia, where stories meet imagination. Don't forget to subscribe for more cinematic insights.